Selecting chart databases. To select a specific chart database, click on Menu, select View, and then Options. The View Options dialog box appears. Click on Chart Display in the classification pane. On the View 1 tab, you may choose one of the following databases by selecting the respective buttons. S57 to set the ENC database, CMAP Edition 3, or ARCS. The button highlighted in blue indicates the active chart database. Note: if the multi-view mode feature is active, charts of different databases can be displayed on a split screen at the same time. Chart loading. On the chart display classification pane, you can also select the chart loading mode for S57 charts by clicking on Auto, which automatically switches and shows charts, or Fix, which fixes and shows the chart being currently displayed. Manual ENC selection. To select any ENC cell manually, click on Menu and choose Chart. Next, click on Select S57 chart, and a list of charts is displayed in the Select Chart dialog box. The available cells can be sorted by name, scale, up number, issue date, last update, or their status, for example, accepted and rejected. If the full name of the cell is known, click on the text field, enter chart name, and by using the alphanumeric keypad, type the name of the desired chart, and click Enter. To select and load a chart, click on the desired cell, which is highlighted in a blue frame, and confirm by clicking OK. Cursor readout. The cursor readout feature is displaying information, which is measured by the cursor, such as latitude and longitude. To activate it, click on Menu, select Tools, and then click on the Cursor Readout button. The cursor readout feature continuously displays the bearing and range from the CCRP to the current position of the cursor, as well as the time to go, which the own ship would require to reach this point and the corresponding estimated time of arrival. This calculation is based on the current ship's speed. Scale bar. The scale bar is always displayed in the lower left corner of the chart area. Since ENCs can be used at various scale levels, the scale bar ensures the situational awareness on how the chart content is presented in relation to their scale. Note: the appearance of the scale bar depends on the scale being used. At scales larger than 1 to 80,000, the length of the bar equals 1 nautical mile, which is subdivided into 10 segments, which equals 1 cable. On scales smaller than 1 to 80,000, the bar equals 10 nautical miles, which is subdivided into 10 segments, which equals 1 nautical mile. Latitudinal and longitudinal grid. A latitude-longitude grid can be displayed on the chart window. The grid is displayed only in all, or custom display mode. To display the grid in custom mode, first click on the custom button in the chart information area. Next, open the drop-down menu next to it, click on Chart Display Settings, and click on the Next button to move to page 2. To activate the grid, select the grid checkbox. Range rings. Range rings is a set of concentric circles, which is useful for evaluating distances from a geographic location. To activate the range rings, click on Menu. Select View. And then the Options button. Click on Tools in the Classification pane. And afterwards select the Range Rings checkbox. Note: the distance between the rings depends on the present scale, and the corresponding ranges are indicated next to each ring. To deactivate this function, deselect the Range Rings checkbox. Activate EBL and VRM. The ECDIS provides an electronic bearing line, EBL, and variable range marker, VRM, in order to take bearing and range measurements. To activate this function, click on Menu, select Tools, and then click on the EBL VRM button. The EBL VRM readout dialog box appears in the lower right corner of the chart area. Click on the EBL or VRM button to activate the respective function. A second EBL and VRM is available and can be activated additionally. The currently selected EBL and VRM is highlighted by a blue frame. To deactivate an EBL or VRM, click on the corresponding value button in the EBL VRM readout dialog box until it shows off. Adjust EBL and VRM. To adjust the EBL or VRM, move the cursor above the line in the chart area and click on it. The EBL or VRM is now attached to the cursor and can be adjusted by moving it respectively. Click again to set the line. To adjust EBL and VRM at the same time, click on the circled intersection of both lines and move the cursor to the desired position. Click again to confirm. Note: the EBL VRM can also be adjusted from the keyboard operation unit by using the respective dials. EBL and VRM settings. The value buttons in the first column correspond to EBL1 and VRM1, and in the second column to EBL2 and VRM2. These buttons indicate off by default. To set the EBL bearing from true to relative and vice versa, click on the toggle button next to the bearing, which is labeled T or R. This indicates whether true T or relative R bearings are selected. By clicking the respective button, the VRM range unit can be switched to nautical miles, kilometers, and standard miles. EBL and VRM modes. A single button is available above each column, which is blank by default. These mode selector buttons are used to set the reference mode by clicking on them. The following modes are available on this ECDIS. Blank field sets the measurement starting point to the CCRP. C carried fixes the measurement starting point on the screen. D dropped fixes the measurement starting point at a latitude and longitude point on the chart. Node fixed EBL and VRM. The node fixed EBL VRM function provides the ability to fix the node to a certain point on the chart, while the EBL and VRM are centered on the owned ship. This provides a continuous monitoring of bearing and range to a fixed object in relation to the owned ship. To activate this feature, click on Menu, select Tools, and then the Node Fixed EBL VRM button. Click on the On-Off button. Move the cursor to the chart area. While the node of EBL and VRM are attached to the cursor, move it to the desired point on the chart, and click to fix the node. The bearing and range from the owned ship to the fixed point are now continuously monitored and displayed in the dialog box. Create a user chart. A user chart is a layer where the user objects, mariner objects, are stored. To create a new user chart, click on Menu, select User Chart, and then click on the File Operation button. The File Operation dialog box appears and gives a tabular overview of all existing user charts. Click on New, and a new user chart is added on the table. Name it by clicking on the respective file name. The created user chart is activated for editing. This is indicated in the editing column of the table. If multiple user charts exist, ensure that the desired chart is activated for editing. By default, all newly created user charts are activated for display, and this is indicated in the display column. To activate or deactivate the chart for display, select or unselect the respective checkbox. User chart object type. Various types of objects can be implemented on the chart. To add a user chart object, first click on the desired user chart, which the new object shall be assigned to, and then click on the Edit User Chart button. The drawing toolbar opens in the lower left corner of the screen. To create an object, click on the Type button, and the Object Type Selection dialog box appears. The user may choose the desired chart object type, such as symbol, line, area, and text, from the left bar. All available symbols are displayed on the right side of the dialog box once a category has been selected. Note: the available user chart objects can be displayed in the list with brief descriptions or as icons. To switch between the options, click on the list or on the icon button. Create user chart objects. Each user can manually add user chart objects on the chart. To create a user chart object, select a category in the Object Type Selection dialog box. For example, click on Area and select Warning Detection, -line. Then, move the cursor in the chart area and left-click to set the first corner point of the area. Expand the area by clicking on the desired corner points on the chart, and right-click to terminate the editing mode. Once the new object has been created, the Property dialog box opens, where specific attributes can be selected. Mariners, mark, line. In addition to the user chart objects, it is possible to create a mariner's mark, line, which is a category of its own, in the Object Type Selection dialog box. To create a mariner's mark, or line, click on Mariner's Mark, Line, and follow the same procedure as for user chart objects, to place and modify the marks and lines. Note: in comparison to user chart objects, Mariner's marks and lines are not based on a specific user chart, and are therefore stored in a global layer. User Chart button. To quickly access the drawing toolbar, click on the U Chart button in the left toolbar. Note: consider the new user chart objects are added to the user chart, which is currently selected for editing. Edit user chart objects. To modify a user chart object, click on it, and the property dialog box opens. Depending on the nature of the object, different properties are available for adjustment. For example, it is possible to set the line color, line width, fill color, as well as the transparency in the warning area. To do so, click on the corresponding drop-down menus and select the desired values. Since the area is defined by its corner points, which are called vertex, each point is listed with its coordinates. To change the position of a vertex, click on its corresponding latitude or longitude, and enter the desired coordinates. A comment can be associated to the object in the respective text field. To display the comment next to the object on the chart, select the checkmark Show Comment. Modify user chart objects graphically. The position of all user objects can be modified directly in the chart area. Taking the warning area as an example, click directly on the vertex, and after it is highlighted in black, click on it one more time. Move the cursor to the new position, and click to set it. To move the whole object, right-click on the object in the chart, and select Move this object. Move the cursor to the new position, and click to set it. Delete user chart objects. To delete a user chart object, right-click on it, and select Delete this object from the context menu. Alternatively, expand the left toolbar, and click on the eraser icon. Now, move the cursor on the user chart object, and click on it. Right-click to terminate the erase mode. Manage user charts. User chart objects are associated with user charts, which can be managed in the File Operation dialog box. To manage the user charts, click on Menu, select User Chart, and then File Operation. The File Operation dialog box opens, where all existing charts are displayed in a tabular overview. Before performing a management operation, the respective user chart has to be selected with a click, and a blue frame indicates its selection. To delete a user chart, select it, and click on Delete. To copy a user chart, select it, and click on Copy. A new user chart is now added on the table. To rename it, click on the user chart, and type the desired name. To merge display files, select the respective display checkboxes of all user charts to be merged. Click on Merge Display Files to combine the user charts that are active for display. Import and export user charts. To import a user chart, click on Import, and the Import dialog box opens. Click on the Drive drop-down menu, and select the source of the stored exported file, such as the USB flash drive. The user chart files are now listed in the dialog box. Select the desired file, and confirm by clicking OK. The user chart file is now imported. To export a user chart, first select it, and then click Export. The Export dialog box appears. Click on the Drive drop-down menu, and select the external drive, where the user charts shall be stored. Type a name in the file name text field, and select the file format from the File Type drop-down menu. To finally export the user chart, click on OK. Display and Edit Mode of User Charts. User charts and their chart objects can be individually selected to be displayed. Therefore, more than one user chart can be presented simultaneously. However, only one user chart at a time can be set in edit mode. The mode for display and editing is indicated in the File Operation dialog box. The activation of these modes is described in Topic 3.3.1, Create a User Chart. List of user chart objects. All created user chart objects, as well as Mariner's marks and lines, can be displayed and summarized in lists. To do this, click on Menu, select User Chart, and then click the Mark Line List button. In the Mark Line List dialog box, the user may select the desired group object, which is either Mariner's mark line or user chart. Each group is subdivided into categories, which are represented in buttons below the tab bar. All objects are vertically listed in rows, and their properties are shown in the respective columns. Changes can be applied directly on the table. To scroll the chart to the position of the corresponding object, press on Jump at the end of a row. To select an object, click on its number, and to delete it, click on the Delete button. Note: only objects of user charts, which are selected for display in the File Operation dialog box, are contained in the list. View options. It is possible to set the categories and types of user chart objects, which are displayed globally for the ECDIS. To do so, click on Menu, select View, Options, and then click on the User Chart button in the classification pane. In order to display all objects on the chart, the user may now choose the All On button. To display only the selected objects, the individual button needs to be chosen. By clicking on the individual button, the settings for editing are enabled in the Edit pane. Select or deselect the respective checkboxes to activate or deactivate certain objects. To adjust the display settings for Mariner's marks and lines, click on Mariner's mark line in the classification pane, and activate the desired checkboxes. Creating an LOP. The line of position function is provided as an aid to the navigator. It is used to measure the own ship's position based on the following navigation and plotting on the chart. To access the LOP function, click on Menu, select Tools, and then click on the Manual Position Fix button. To create an LOP, click on the LOP drop-down menu, and select 1 to activate the first line of position. Then, choose between the bearing or distance of the reference object, and select it on the chart area. Adjust the bearing or distance. Click to set it. Then confirm everything via Set. Alternatively, the position values of the reference object, such as bearing or distance, can be set directly in the respective input fields. Position Fix by 2 or more LOPs. Position fixing by LOPs is very much dependent on the area of navigation and availability of suitable chart objects. Set at least 2 LOPs, according to your measurements. Click on the Plot drop-down menu, and select Set Plotted Position. The Property dialog box provides the possibility to adjust the position, date and time, as well as defining the source and plot type of observation, and a supplementary comment. Note: the position mark is amended by V and EP labels, according to the selected source and plot type. The position fix is entered in the logbook accordingly. Observation time assignment. To adjust the time of observation for each LOP, select the respective line in the LOP drop-down menu. Click on the date or time input field, and a calendar opens. Set the date and time of the observation, and confirm by clicking OK. Running fix. In areas lacking availability of chart objects or landmarks, running fix method provides a good cross-checking of the EPFS sensor data. For example, assume that 2 observations of a single reference object have been obtained, where sufficient time has elapsed between them. Plot the first and second line of position as described. Select the first LOP from the LOP drop-down menu, and activate the Transfer Position Line checkbox. Select either the heading, Speed Through Water, or Course Over Ground, Speed Over Ground radio button, to specify the data on which the transfer shall be calculated. Click on the Plot drop-down menu, and select Set Plotted Position. Select EPL12, which is the transferred LOP1 to LOP2, and LOP2 checkboxes. Click OK to set the position fix. Plot by cursor. If 3 LOPs are plotted by bearing, all lines define a triangle of error on the chart area. The ECDIS calculates the center of the triangle automatically, and assumes it is the observed position. If there is any doubt about the automatic plot, it can be manually set as well. Click on Plot by Cursor, and move the cursor in the chart area to the assumed position. Click to set the position fix. Offset of plotted position. If there are sound reasons that the currently activated position source, such as GPS or dead reckoning, is erratic, and the position derived by LOPs is more reliable, the difference between the displayed and observed position can be defined as an offset. To activate this function, click on the Plot drop-down menu, and select Offset to Plotted Position, Main, for the main sensor, or Offset to Plotted Position, Sub, for the secondary sensor. Set the desired LOPs by selecting the corresponding checkboxes, and click OK. For GPS, the difference between the indicated position and the observed position is set as a permanent offset to the GPS position. In dead reckoning mode, the difference is used to correct the dead reckoning position. Delete LOPs. To delete an LOP, select the respective line from the LOP drop-down menu, and click on Delete. To delete all LOPs, click on the Clear All Lines button. Man overboard. In the unlikely event of a man overboard incident, The Man Overboard mode can be activated by clicking on the Man Overboard button in the right toolbar. An anchor symbol is displayed on the chart area as a Man Overboard marker, and the marker dialog box appears. The current bearing and distance from the own ship to the Man Overboard position is indicated next to the marker on the chart area, and further information is displayed in the marker dialog box. To deactivate the Man Overboard mode, close the marker dialog box and confirm the question by clicking OK. Event marker. The ECDIS provides the option to enter event markers on the chart area. To enable this function, click on Event in the chart information area. Time and ID number of the event are displayed next to the marker on the chart. In the Property dialog box, additional information is displayed. This includes the position and time of the event. A comment and the display scale attribute can be set as well. To delete an event marker, click on the Eraser button in the left toolbar, and then click on the object in the chart area. Note: for each triggered event, a logbook entry is created accordingly.